I'm Sarah and welcome to my channel. I really wanted to start this channel because I have really loved watching how creative the booktubers are on YouTube, and I've been really enjoying watching a lot of those videos and it just looks so fun. So I wanted to try it and we'll see how it goes. But I really love reading. I have been a big reader since I was really young. In middle school and high school, you rarely saw me without a book in my hands. But when I went to college, I kind of stopped reading a little bit just because there was so much other stuff going on that I didn't really read for fun anymore. So, which I feel like is everybody's college experience. But yeah, so after college and getting into my new job and all of that, I just have slowly in this past year started getting back into reading, and I'm really loving it. I've gotten really excited about it. I was able to read 57 books last year, which was super cool. I haven't read that many books in so long, and I have just absolutely loved getting back into reading. I am planning on trying to read, this is probably a really big goal for this year, but I'm planning on trying to read 100 books this year. Might be a little bit too lofty of a goal for me, but we'll find out. And we're just gonna try our best. So I wanted to do, for my first video, it seemed like doing a TBR video would be a really good choice. So I'm gonna do my January TBR, and I'm super excited to show and share all the books that I'm going to be reading, hopefully. So the first book that we have on our January TBR, House of Marion by J.L. And this book was recommended to me by my friend Vicky, and she had read this book, and there's a second book too. So she read this book and the second book, and she liked the second book better than the first, but she did like both of these and she recommended it to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it. This is a fantasy, I believe it's a YA fantasy, and at the top of it, it actually has like a little blurb from Stephanie Garber, and I love Stephanie Garber. I actually, on my shelf, I have part of the Caravel series. I'm still missing Finale, but I have Caravel, Legendary, and Spectacular, which I guess just got Spectacular for Christmas. My husband got it for me. But yeah, so Stephanie Garber, at the top of this, there's a little blurb that says, "Dazzling and deceptive, the perfect escape from Stephanie Garber." So, really excited about this one. The idea with this story is that our main character, Quell, has dark magic, and it's illegal, basically, where she lives. And so she is trying to hide from this assassin that is hunting her and protect her and her mother. And then so in order to do that, she inducts herself into a debutante society of magical social elites, which she never knew existed, called the Order. If she can pass their 3 rites of membership, mastering their proper form of magic, she'll be able to secretly bury her forbidden magic forever. If her dark magic is discovered, she will be killed. So this looks super interesting. I'm really excited to get into this one. Book number 2 on the January TBR is Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I have already read Powerless and Reckless, and I'm super excited for Fearless. It's coming out this coming year. I think it's coming out in February, but I could be wrong on that. We'll see. But Powerful, I've been putting off reading this book for a really long time. So this is a fantasy book, and this one's a novella, so it's a little bit shorter, which is nice. I was like, if I'm going to do 8 books in my TBR, I need to have some short books on here too. So Powerful, rather than following Peyton, the main character from Powerless and Reckless, this follows Adina, which is Peyton's best friend. So I have been putting this off because I'm not sure that I am mentally prepared for this one. If you've read Powerful, you may know what I mean. But I'm really excited to actually read this one, and I'm gonna do it. I'm actually going to do it. I've been saying I'm going to read this one ever since I finished Reckless in like July. So here we go. The next book on the January TBR is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. This will be my first Brandon Sanderson book. I'm really excited about it. I got this from the library for myself to read, but then my husband was kind of looking at it and it looked really interesting to him. So he actually has already read this, and I am really excited to actually read it because he said that it was really good and there were multiple points where he was laughing while he was reading this. So I'm really curious about how this one is going to go. The little blurb in here on this one is: a man awakens in a clearing in what appears to be medieval England with no memory of who he is, where he came from, or why he is there. Chased by a group from his own time, his sole hope for survival lies in regaining his missing memories, making allies among the locals, and perhaps even trusting in their superstitious boasts. His only help from the real world should have been a guidebook entitled The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, except his copy exploded during transit. The few fragments he managed to save provide clues to his situation, but can he figure them out in time to survive? I'm excited. This is going to be a good one. And I've heard that Brandon Sanderson's really good, so yay! Book number 3 on our January TBR is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. And this book is about our main character, Keela. And the inside cover says, Keela has always had trouble dealing with people. Thankfully, as a librarian at the Great Library of Elysium, she and her assistant Kaz, a magically sentient spider plant, have spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most precious spellbooks, preserving their magic for the city's elite. When a revolution begins and the library goes up in flames, she and Kaz flee with all the spellbooks they can carry and head to a remote island Keela never thought she'd see again, her childhood home. Taking refuge there, Keela discovers, much to her dismay, a nosy and very handsome neighbor who can't take a hint and keeps showing up day after day to make sure she's fed and to help her fix up her new home. In need of income, Keela identifies something that even the bakery in town doesn't have: jam. With the help of an old recipe book her parents left her and a bit of illegal magic, her cottage garden is soon covered in ripe berries. But magic can do more than make life a little sweeter. So Keela risks the consequences of using unsanctioned spells and opens the island's first ever and much needed secret spell shop. Like a Hallmark rom-com filled with mythical creatures and fueled by cinnamon rolls and magic, the spell shop will heal your heart and feed your soul. So this one looks really cute. It says in there, like a rom-com, a Hallmark rom-com, but fantasy. I'm really excited about this one. One of the booktubers I really like to watch, Faith's Reading Things, she just read this one a couple of months ago and she said she really liked it. So I'm excited to get into this one. Book number 5 is on my Kindle app. I don't actually own a Kindle, but I read on the Kindle app on my phone or on my iPad. And so book number 5 for the month of January is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I'm gonna put it right here. So it has some of the same characters from the Caravel series, but it's a brand new main character. So it's about Evangeline. And I can't really tell you too much more than that. Just, I think it might spoil some of the stuff in the Caravel series. So, but I'm super excited about it. I actually already started it last month and I'm like 40% of the way in. So I'm a good ways in, but I'm still putting it on my January TBR because I want to finish it, and why not? So, and as I said before, I really like Stephanie Garber's writing. So super excited. I need to stop saying excited. Okay, next book on my list is one that I've been trying to read for a very long time. And I keep not reading it, and that is The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. One of my goals for this year is to actually read this series because I really love fantasy. So you'd think that I would be really into this book series. And I liked the movies, but I think I just get lost in the words. So I think it might be a little bit like, when you read a Shakespeare play and you're like, I'm having a really hard time actually understanding this until you're all of a sudden fully immersed in like all how he writes, and then you're like, oh, okay, I understand what's happening now. So I think that will help a little bit if I just like push through and like keep going with it. But I also was telling my friend about this, my friend Johanna, and she said that she actually listened to this on audiobook and read it. I think it was mostly audiobook, and she said it was super enjoyable to listen to on audiobook. So I'll probably do like a combo of audiobook and actually reading this one just because I think that might help as well. All right, book number 7. I think we're on book number 7. Book number 7 is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. And I actually have read this one, but I haven't read the Percy Jackson series. And that one is on my list for 2025 of series that I want to like finish and complete and do because I've never read them before. And Disney Plus has already got at least one season out of Percy Jackson, which I've seen the first season. And I really liked it. And I really liked this book. I just was kind of in the middle of a reading slump and hadn't fully gotten back into reading when I started reading this. So I feel like this doesn't really need a lot of explanation. Most people know what Percy Jackson is. But Percy Jackson is Greek mythology. It's a fantasy. It's middle grade. I'm really excited to read this one again so that I can actually like get back into the world and remember things that I may have forgotten before I get into the rest of the series. And book number 8 is actually a nonfiction. So that's another thing that I have on my goals for 2025 is that I want to read at least 5 nonfiction books this year. Because I read a lot of like fantasy and fiction and stuff like that. And so I just feel like supplementing that a little bit with some nonfiction is probably a good thing. So book number 8 and the last book on my January TBR is Practicing the Way by John Mark Comer. I have actually already started this, but I've been kind of putting off finishing it, and I would really like to finish it. So I'm putting it on my TBR for this month so I can actually finish it. But this is a Christian living, spiritual growth type of book. And it's literally says on it, be with Jesus, become like him, do as he did. We are constantly being formed by the world around us. To be formed by Jesus requires each of us to become his apprentice. So this is just like, so far what I've read in it is a really like challenging book, and in challenging you in your walk with God and your faith. And so I'm really excited about finishing this one. So just to recap, let me pull these up here. This is our January TBR, and plus Once Upon a Broken Heart. And I'm really excited about starting this channel. I'm really excited for the opportunity to be creative in a new way. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.